The January 5th, 2021 meeting of the Eden Prairie City Council is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all of you in the room tonight. There's just a few socially distanced and wearing masks. Thank you so much. But also the people watching from home or who stream this, I guess it's not streaming live, but who stream it later. Welcome to the first meeting of the year 2021 here in Eden Prairie. At this first meeting, we do a lot of perfunctory but also really important things that set the stage for the rest of the year. You'll see and watch us make appointments, set our calendar, but one of the most important and I think most exciting things we do, especially following an election year, is to welcome our newly elected, and in the case of Councilmember P.G. Narayan returning, and in the case of Lisa Toomey newly elected to the council. So our very first act will be to officially swear them in. So at this point, Mr. Getcho, do I turn it over to you, who then can proceed from here?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The swearing in will be conducted by our city attorney, and the council members could come around to the podium, and our city attorney will do the swearing in from her location.
If anybody's coming up to join them that's in the family, you're certainly welcome and invited to do that now.
Separate. So
Narayan
PG
will
looks
be
ready.
Yep.
That's a gentleman. Yeah, that's fine. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Minnesota and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of council member of the city of Eden Prairie in the county of Hennepin and state of Minnesota to the best of your judgment and ability, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
Councilmember Narayan, do you want to just introduce who is standing there with you?
Yeah, Mayor, allowed to do that. I have my wife, Indira, and my oldest son, Sunoj Narayan, here.
Great, thank you. Welcome. Thanks for being here to support him. Councilmember-elect Lisa Toomey. And if anybody would like to come up and join her or who she's requested, please do so.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Minnesota and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of council member of the city of Eden Prairie in the county of Hennepin and state of Minnesota to the best of your judgment and ability, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
Councilmember Toomey, would you like to introduce anybody that's in the room with you tonight?
Sure. That's my husband, my father-in-law back there, and I have some friends. So thank you guys for coming.
Okay, thank you. We've had wonderful councils through the years. I've been really fortunate to be part of 24 years of them. I will say they've all been, I think, phenomenally excellent in representing the people of Eden Prairie. This particular council, I'm very excited just about the strengths that they individually bring, the way that we'll work together, the diversity that we bring in thought and ideas. And I tell people when they get elected, I never, my goal is not to have 5-0 votes, it's to have really the consensus and support to represent everybody well. And sometimes 3-2 and 4-1 votes are the very best because the varied ideas get represented across Eden Prairie. So this is a great, wonderful group of people, and I'm just so proud and excited really to work with them in the next 2 years. Different cities handle open podium or that public access to giving the council informal feedback. Different cities handle it differently. We have done this for years and years where we offer an open podium invitation to our residents, and I want to read just a comment about that. Obviously, COVID put a little bit of a damper on this idea, but once we come out of and post-COVID, we'll go back to normality where we'll offer open podium as an opportunity to Eden Prairie residents to address the City Council on issues related to Eden Prairie City government prior to each City Council meeting, the meetings occur typically the first and the third Tuesday. These open podium sessions will be from 6:30 to 6:55. If you wish to speak at open podium, we do encourage you to call the city manager's office at 952-949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, phone number, and subject matter. That really just helps us to be prepared for you and have the right staff here with answers if we need that. If time permits, after scheduled speakers are finished, the mayor will open the floor to unscheduled speakers. Open podium is not recorded or televised. If you have any questions about open podium, please do contact the city manager's office. Our next item of business on the agenda is to have any proclamations or presentations or awards, and so we do have several items tonight. Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. I'd like to introduce our Police Chief, Greg Weber, who I'm sure is very proud to present an award, or to present the council with an award that members of our police department, Eden Prairie Police Department, have received.
Thank you, Mr. Getchell. Mayor and members of the council, it gives me great pride to bring Detective Mark Gusted and crime analyst Ryan Capon before you this evening. You may recall back in 2018, we had a home invasion case where an individual died and had a heart attack during the course of that home invasion. And Mark and Ryan worked very hard over the next couple years to the point that they identified nearly 20 home invasions in the upper Midwest that were all similar. And due to their work, in 2020, they received 3 awards. They received the Distinguished Service Award from the Minnesota Chiefs of Police Association, the Excellence in the Pursuit of Justice Award from the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the Honor Awards from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. And due to COVID, our ability to present these awards in a public forum were limited this year. They should have actually went to Washington, D.C. to receive the award from the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the Chiefs Conference should have been in St. Cloud, where they would have received those awards. So it brings me great pleasure to bring these 2 individuals forward tonight and your time to give them that public recognition for all of the tremendous work they did, not only solving the case in Eden Prairie, but many cases throughout the upper Midwest.
Great, thank you. Do you want to say something, or do you? I want to applaud you, but do you want to say something first, or are you good? All right. Well, thank you so much for all the work that you did. We know that you're exemplary, but also representative of our amazing police department, and we are thrilled. And we hear that all the time when we speak with our residents of the good work that we do. And so thank you also to our leadership under Chief Greg Weber. But thank you so much for all that you do, and congratulations on these awards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. So, Mr. Getchell, proclamation supporting local restaurants.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'd like to introduce the president of the Eden Prairie Chamber of Commerce, Pat Mulqueeny. He has been working on an initiative to support our local restaurants in this time of COVID. And the city, obviously, we understand the need for our restaurants in Eden Prairie to be successful and to succeed. And they've been hit very hard with this pandemic. So I'd like to introduce Pat from the Eden Prairie Chamber of Commerce, and then Mayor, there's a proclamation that we would like you to read following Pat's remarks.
Excellent. Mr. Mulqueeny.
So, Mayor and council members and city staff, I want to thank you for recognizing our businesses with the proclamation and your support, and not just with the proclamation, but ongoing support. The Eden Prairie Chamber and our business community knows that we have strong partnerships here. Was delighted when it reached out to the mayor and city manager Getchow to discuss this opportunity. As you all are aware, our restaurants currently are only open for outside dining or takeout. We're excited that the governor has an announcement tomorrow. We're anticipating opening next week, which was part of the reason we wanted this declaration for next week. In particular with our restaurants and event centers, they are part of our community. Many of these businesses typically support our local youth and sports teams. Many of them are where our local kids get their first jobs and opportunity to earn a living. Restaurants and event centers are places where we gather to connect with friends and community members. They're places that we celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, engagements, and weddings. And they hold the community events that really help strengthen Eden Prairie. And as part of your proclamation this evening, we plan to continue to highly promote those businesses. We anticipate the opening next week. The timing is perfect. We thank you again and know that the Eden Prairie community has done a lot already to support these businesses. And we hope that they continue that support through COVID-19 impacts as things get back to normal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulqueeny. And before I read the proclamation, I just want to say that I have always viewed the partnership that Pat spoke of between the city, the school district, and the chamber as three legs of this three-legged stool that all are so necessary to make a successful community. So we really appreciate our business community, appreciate all that you've done. I try so hard as often as I can to be as supportive as mayor with all your new openings and just to be part of the chamber. So thank you for allowing me to do that. With COVID, which has been nothing if not terribly frustrating and difficult on people across the nation here this last year, and of course the culprit's the virus. We kind of have to keep remembering that. But I think that the hope of opening up restaurants probably is at the top of the list in most people's minds. Just that opportunity to go get back out, not just can't have really good food at home, but just to get back out and have good dinners out and to socialize and be able to be in restaurants. So we are really excited, and I'm optimistic, crossing my fingers, the governor's announcement tomorrow will be viewed really positively. We're not sure of what percentage or if it's fully open, but it definitely will be a good step in the right direction. So with that, a proclamation that is coming from the City Council this evening. Whereas the City of Eden Prairie, Minnesota recognizes the importance of local small businesses and the important contributions they make to our local economy and community. And whereas, according to the United States Small Business Administration, that didn't come out right, administration, there are 31.7 million small businesses in the United States, which employ 47.1% of the employees in the private sector. And whereas small businesses are critically important to the overall economic health of the United States, highlighting the impact of supporting local small businesses in communities like Eden Prairie, and whereas the City of Eden Prairie, Minnesota supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, contribute to the vibrancy of our neighborhoods, we remain committed to providing entrepreneurs and small business owners the support they need to thrive and grow, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the City of Eden Prairie, advocacy groups, and public and private organizations, including the Eden Prairie Chamber of Commerce, support our restaurants and retail establishments that have adapted to the state of Minnesota's COVID-19 health guidelines to keep their employees and their customers safe. Whereas many restaurants in Eden Prairie may begin reopening, we hope, on January 11th, 2021, including but not limited to, I'm not going to read them, but Pat Mulqueeny has supplied the names of 92 restaurants in Eden Prairie. I think that's wonderfully, phenomenally amazing. And we just are crossing our fingers that they will be able to thrive and survive, or at least have survived these last 6 months and carry on into the new year. They will be listed and they'll be in public record, but and just to let you see, I mean, there's just 92 of them, so there's a lot. I'm so proud of that. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City of Eden Prairie declares January 12th to 18th Support Eden Prairie Businesses Week and encourages restaurant residents to show their appreciation and support of our local businesses. Adopted by the Eden Prairie City Council this 5th day of January 2021. Eden Prairie City Council and Ronald A. Case, Mayor. I like many families, my wife and I have done our best, not only because we enjoy it, but to support our local restaurants, trying to have carry out 2 to 3 days a week and supporting all that we can. So I hope everybody does that up until the week when they open, and then when they do open, let's just flood into our restaurants and really support them and make sure that they thrive and survive. Again, thank you, Mr. Mulqueeny, for all that you're doing. All right, we have a third item under proclamations and presentations. This is a donation. Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, a donation. I will ask the Chief of Police to come back up to describe the donation.
Your Honor and members of the council, the resolution you have before you tonight is asking that we accept a donation from the Eden Prairie Crime Prevention Fund in the amount of $5,400 for the purposes of ballistic protection for our canine unit. The Crime Prevention Fund has really stepped up to the plate and taken a lot of pride in our canine unit and really supplied a lot of funds. And this is just another example of their commitment to making sure that, we have tools to do our work out in the community. So we're very grateful for that. I do know that this particular donation to the Crime Prevention Fund did come from one individual who elected to remain anonymous.
Nice. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Before I entertain a motion and we take a vote, I'd like to ask a council member to me, who is also serving as the president of the board of the Crime Prevention Fund. So if you could just say a brief word about who the Crime Prevention Fund is, possibly how long they've been around, maybe how many are on the board, that kind of thing, and then we'll go. I'll let you make the motion.
Really?
And then I will.
Okay.
And then we'll move right on.
So, great. So, the Crime Prevention Fund has been around since it's a nonprofit. It's been around since 1978. We were originally founded by members of the Morning Rotary Club here in Eden Prairie. Our main focus originally was reward money. So when you see reward money offered for tips or something, it does not come from taxpayer money. It comes from a nonprofit. Bloomington, Edina, Hopkins, I think they all have crime prevention funds. In Minneapolis, it would be Crime Stoppers. So when you see something like that. We also fund some outreach programs for the police department. We safety camp. We partially fund safety camp, the Counteract program in the city, Citizens Academy. It used to be Shop with a Cop, but now it's Holiday with Heroes. We have supported, like Chief Weber said, the K-9 unit and the chaplain unit, and something called the Recovery Assistance Program. And we're very happy that we just started a scholarship program for high school seniors interested in pursuing degrees in law enforcement. So there's only 10 of us on the board. It's a working board. We have no employees, and we're a very small nonprofit, but trying to make an impact when we can.
Nice. Thank you. Turn around and see your name up there. Doesn't that look good?
Spelt it wrong.
No.
I'm kidding.
Oh, that's mean. Councilmember Toomey, would you be so kind as to make the motion?
Sure. I would like to make a motion. Move to adopt the resolution accepting the donation of $5,400 from the Eden Prairie Crime Prevention Fund for the purchase of 2 police K-9 ballistic vests.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Is there any further discussion? So, do you want to say something? No. Okay. We need, because we have Councilmember Nelson this evening, who is virtual, remote, but part of this meeting, state statute law says I have to have a roll call vote for every single motion. A little cumbersome, but nonetheless, that's why we're doing this. So, roll call, please call the names.
Councilmember Freiberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson. Aye. Councilmember Toomey.
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right. Down to the approval of the agenda. Are there any items that any council member wishes to add to this agenda this evening? Okay, hearing none, could I have a motion to
I
approve the
move
agenda?
to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson. Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right, under minutes, I typically combine the two from the workshop and the council meeting into one motion. There is a correction on the city council meeting, the actual meeting held Tuesday, December 1. There was an item that talked about the city manager's salary that was set, and it read it as 210,000, and it should read as 205,000. So just make that correction, or just when you make your motion, just say with the correction. And then are there any other items that anybody wishes to correct or that you wish to comment on? Then if not, I'll entertain a motion for both of them that includes the correction on the regular meeting. Someone?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Nope, the council, the minutes are,
Oh, I apologize.
No problem.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
move to approve the following city council minutes. The workshop held Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, and the council meeting held Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, with the corrected salary for the city manager of $205,000.
excellent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson. Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right. We're going to move down to the consent calendar. And again, just as an educational comment for anyone listening in, not sure if there's people new to our city council process, but there are many items that need approval on a bi-weekly basis that are very, very small. I would even call them perfunctory. It might be, the choice of a color of a fire truck, or I mean, just something that's quite generally small that would not require a lot of additional discussion. So we clump them together in something called the consent calendar. This consent calendar happens to have items A through O. And again, this is all available, transparently public online. All of our agendas and our minutes are. So with that, council, are there any items on the consent calendar that you would wish to have further discussion on or pull for conversation? Just for the tech people in back, I'm not seeing Councilmember Nelson anymore. Just point of reference there to have that pulled up if possible. And Kathy, that means therefore, Councilmember Nelson, if you do wish to speak, you just make sound. There you are. Whoa, there you're really there. You're there like many, many times. All right, so with that then, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the approval of item A to O on the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Whoop, roll call.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I caught it. Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson. Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right. We do have one public hearing this evening. There's still construction going on in our town, and if you like coffee, I think this is you're going to think this is good news. So, Mr. Getchell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have an applicant coming forward tonight requesting approval to construct a drive-through coffee shop at 16315 Terry Pine. That location is just west of the Burger King site on Eden Prairie Road and Highway 4 and 5. The property is guided commercial, and the applicant is requesting a rezoning from office to commercial. Office because the current use of the property is an office building behind the Burger King, and the applicant is proposing to demolish the office building and remove the site features to prepare the site for the new development for the coffee shop, which would be a newer prototype 950 square foot building. And it would have drive-through service, a walk-up window, online ordering, and pickup, and a patio, and a bike rack, and some outdoor features, but it does not have indoor seating. The proponent is here tonight to provide a presentation to the city council on their proposed development. And then you do have a public hearing, and the staff and the applicant can certainly answer any questions that the city council may have or the public may have.
And just for reference, I believe it's east of the Burger King, if people are trying, because...
Did I say west? Yeah, it is
you
east.
You
I
read it
misspoke.
correctly, but it's written wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's east, because the Eden Prairie Road is west, right? Yeah. Okay.
You're right. No, it's absolutely east.
Okay.
Yeah. And the DQ Grill and Chill is to the south. And the highways to the north.
We got it. All right.
Well, I think we're just stalling for the applicant to get the PowerPoint up. But
Companies, St. Paul, Minnesota. Well, I want to start by saying our planning staff has been wonderful to work with, and they've been great. So we've worked back and forth through this project to come to. We made some changes, and it's kept going back and forth, but they've been wonderful, and we're excited to work with you guys. They have a great project. I'm going to go through the slides here, and at the end I'm going to open up for questions. So if you have any questions, at the end I'll open up and I'll fire away. And I want to backtrack a little bit. Planning Commission was great too. They gave us some recommendations, and we agreed to make all the changes they requested. Due to the holiday season, my civil engineer, we were able to update most of the plans, but the landscaping plan was not updated, and we agreed to do what they recommended for approval. But unfortunately, with the holiday season, it's tough to get things moving forward. So, all right, our project is the existing State Farm building, which is right next to Burger King. We have an access easement that enters the parking lot. And it's right on Highway 5, AM side. Our user is right up the street in Chanhassen, our coffee shop. And so they know the area very well, and Highway 5 is a great market for them. This is a site plan of our project. Our project won't have any indoor seating, so the parking will be primarily for employees and then curbside pickup, which has gotten really popular. You can order right on your app, and they'll come and bring it right out to you, or you can run in, so you have a choice to do that. And, we'll also have a patio, which I'll talk a little bit more about on the next slide. So again, the site plan will be not quite 950 feet, but 949, so we'll just round up and call it 950 feet. The access will be off of Terry Pines through the Burger King parking lot, there's an access easement. Our drive-through will have 12 stacking spaces. A typical drive-through coffee shop wants 8 spaces, 7 to 8, maybe 9 at the most. But because of the high traffic and their experience up the street, we thought it was very important, and to have the enough stacking. And if you look at the site plan and going out to our access intersection, which is across the Burger King parking lot, our stacking really comes closer to 20 stacking spaces, so we won't have any problem with backup. And the parking spaces on the bottom of the site plan on the south, those 7 parking spaces, they're meant for employee parking, so we won't have any issues there. Next. So working with planning staff, we changed some of the pavement to porous pavement so that we could have more water retention on site. We also changed the patio to a pervious surface, so we have pervious pavers on the patio. And it's pedestrian friendly with a walk-up window, a patio, and a bike rack. This is the landscaping plan that's not completely updated. It conforms to all the city guidelines, but at Planning Commission, we agreed to put some on the drive-through to, you know, cover it up a little bit. We agreed to change around what we're doing for landscaping there, and then they also requested that we save a tree that's been there for a while, so we kind of work things around. So the plan's not up to date. Your plan, I believe, that you have in your packet, and the last one is up to date on most of that. So some of the sustainable features, we have an underground stormwater management system. We tried to use native plants in the landscaping. We got a smart irrigation system, and exterior lighting exceeds the energy performance requirements. This is our elevations of the building. As you can probably see by the elevations who the tenant is. It's a little obvious. But yeah, so I think we're actually at 95%. I think the requirement for the elevations is 75% class 1 materials, and I think we ended up being at 95%, and that wasn't updated on the slide. And then I have open to answer any questions you guys have, and we're just excited to work with the city. And again, the planning staff has been wonderful to work with.
Can you say a little bit more about the underground stormwater storage, or whatever you worded it as?
Underground stormwater management system. If you're not going to have a surface pond, you have to do an underground. It's more of a civil engineering. I can tell you how much it costs, but it's very expensive. But the whole idea is to not have the water go on into the stormwater management system. You want to hold the water from rain on the site and not have it go into stormwater.
So it'll be held underground in some management?
Yep, it's underground. So it's again, I'm not a civil engineer, but it meets all the requirements of the city. It's pretty standard on these small projects to have some type of underground stormwater management system.
And so, let's see. Do we have anyone here that would answer? We do. It would capture all the storm water from this site will be captured on site?
So Mr. Ellis, our Public Works Director, could answer that.
I was looking for you. I didn't see you back there. You were hiding.
Socially distanced. Yeah. So yes, the system that they're proposing is very common. I would say most projects that are coming in now that are challenged by space requirements of putting in the underground storage, it meets all of the districts, Riley Purgatory Creek Watershed District standards, as well as city. So it's doing the infiltration for stormwater cleaning and also the attainment for the runoff to prevent the flooding. So it does meet all of our standards. These are becoming quite typical with most developments, frankly.
Okay. And it would run off eventually, that water would go into purgatory, I'm assuming, somehow?
Yes, what isn't infiltrated into the ground is entering into our stormwater drainage system, just like all other runoff does, which I believe in this case goes off to the northeast.
Okay. So, council, this will be a public hearing, and we can continue now. And I would say if you have questions, particularly the proponent, let's ask them. So, Councilmember Freiberg.
Yeah, you may have answered this, so I'm not trying to be repetitive. I might not have heard it. I just saw where it said on the signage, Starbucks. I'm looking down here, Terry Pine Coffee. Is it a Starbucks franchise?
It's a corporate. Starbucks corporate.
It is Starbucks corporate. Got it.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I just wanted clarification of that.
No
Okay,
problem.
thank you.
Councilmember Toomey.
Sure. So I'm here from the Planning Commission, so I was at the meeting that you were at, so thank you for saving the tree and putting in the non-deciduous plants in the drive-through area and making the changes that we suggested at the time. But I do have a question. Is there going to be a public restroom there? Because there's going to be a patio. I know the whole thing is just drive-through and walk up, but since there's a patio and there will be people there.
Yeah, I'm not 100% positive on that one, whether or not there'll be a public.
Okay, because I'm just concerned if people go there and hang on the patio, they're going to run over to Dairy Queen to use their, and it might not be something they want, but okay. Thanks.
Can anyone from staff answer if there's any statutory requirements on restaurants to have a bathroom?
Yeah, the city planner could weigh in, but I mean, I'm familiar with, there are many Dairy Queens, not the Grill and Chill, but there are several, if you think about the typical Dairy Queen, that you could walk up to a window similar to this, and there is not a bathroom. So I don't think there's any state requirement, but Julie would know more about the details than I would.
Mayor, members of the council, that's certainly something that staff will be taking a look at through the building permit process. Typically, at this level, we don't necessarily get the final internal floor plans to review at that point. With regard to the question on whether that is a building permit or state building code, requirement, that I can't speak to with 100% certainty, but we can follow up with that, and at second reading, provide additional information.
Do you have a memory in your various city work past, in your gut, whether the fact they have a deck, a patio, and they are going to be attracting people to stay, they do have 6 parking spaces, and to Councilmember Toomey's point, I think is very valid. We don't want people running across both streets into either Dairy Queen or into Burger King to use their restrooms. So will that be a consideration, and you're looking at this as well?
Mayor, members of the council, certainly, like I said, we'll take a look at that. I don't know from a building code standpoint if it is a requirement. Certainly, I'm familiar with other walk-up type of establishments that do provide a public bathroom, but whether or not that was part of their business model or a requirement, that I can't speak to.
Okay. And then any concern at all with if the drive-up portion becomes enlarged and becomes more popular? There's only 6 spots and one of them's handicapped, so there's only 5 if you don't count the staff parking. So if their business model suddenly right in front of their eyes changed and they started to attract just a whole lot more people driving there and stopping and sitting on that patio and drinking coffee, 5 spots is just way inadequate, and they'll be parking in Burger King's parking lot. So is that a concern?
Mayor, members of the council, the parking that's provided on site is intended to address the largest employee shift. So, of course, the largest employee shift is in the morning, and if my memory serves me from the Planning Commission conversation, the proponent noted that there would have the potential to be 7 or 8 employees on staff at that largest shift. So if folks are utilizing that patio outside of the peak time, there would be additional parking opportunities on site.
Okay, I'm still nervous though that if the actual practice began to change before their eyes and people liked this place and they began to drive there as a destination place, they have the walk-up window in the summer, they have the walk-up window, they have the patio, and suddenly we have a parking issue that we created or we allowed, and they're literally parking over in Burger King and Dairy Queen, and it's weird to have the king and queen thing there, but anyway, and we allow, and that's why I'm raising this now. I mean, I just want to make sure that we've covered our bases, and that 2 years from now we're like, yeah, we kind of didn't really see that coming.
Mayor, members of the council, at this point, staff doesn't have that concern. If there was a change in their business operation, in their way their model came to function, that's certainly something we would continue to look at and work with them on. The applicant may be able to speak to this prototype in other locations, whether they've experienced any of that change and how that might have been accommodated if that happened.
And there is no potential proof of parking on the site anywhere, right? There's nothing we could do. Could you go east a little bit and have parallel park? I'm just trying to figure out if they ran into this big trouble, what would happen?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it's very likely if that were to happen, one of the suggestions that staff would have would be to talk with some of their neighbors about the opportunity for a joint access or joint parking, agreement. You know, say that the Burger King site, once it redevelops, maybe there is additional parking there. Maybe there is off peak times between those two businesses, and there'd be an opportunity to do some shared district parking.
Okay, I feel better about that, and especially knowing that their hours of operation are not at the same times in theory, so they'd have to, rent space or something from Burger King, but, okay.
Mayor.
I don't know who was first, but Councilmember Freiberg, and again, we'll get this in a public hearing format in just a moment, but please go ahead.
I think this is something that Julie
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
maybe answer. Could I ask you, Julie, as far as when it was presented to the Planning Commission, what concerns came up, if any?
Mayor, members of the council, questions that came up were with regard to the tree along the property line with Burger King, whether or not that could be saved. The applicant has made those changes and has saved that tree. In addition, there were some comments about improving or increasing the amount of pervious area on the site. The applicant has made those changes as well. The patio is now porous pavement as well. There were also some questions and concerns about the stacking amount in the drive-through, and as the applicant noted, there is more stacking provided on this site than there are on other coffee tenant sites typically. In addition, there's additional stacking beyond what is shown on their site plan before you get out to where their access easement agreement is with the neighboring property. In a nutshell, I think those were the main concerns.
And usually we can see as far as what the outcome was on the Planning Commission, the vote, did it pass unanimously, or is there?
Mayor, members of the council, yes, it was a 9-0 vote.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ryan.
I have 3 questions. I'm going to ask all 3 of them. The first one related to the patio. Sorry, Judy. So I was curious, how many tables and chairs, space for how many tables and chairs on that patio? That kind of related to the parking questions comes into play. The second one, is there any consideration for energy conservation, like solar, anything like that? Third question is, you have 6 or 7 parking space. Is there a consideration for charging station? Thank you.
Mayor, members of the council, with regard to the seating on the patio, at this point, their plans haven't indicated the number of seats that are proposed, so I would defer that question to the applicant. And I would also defer the question on the sustainability portion as well.
Our tenant takes great pride in their sustainability, and they market it on their website. In our narrative that we did for staff, our tenant put in a list of some of the sustainable features. I do not have that in front of me right now, but it's quite exhaustive. As far as solar, I know they have a green narrative initiative. I mean, so I do know that they're going to do everything they can to have a green store. As far as the, I think your second question was on the parking
Charging stations was the third.
station. I'm not 100% positive on that. I don't know exactly what goes into the charging station as far as what, but I mean, if they're interested in doing it, we would definitely look into doing it. I mean, we're going to be, we're going to have electric going to the lighting, the site lighting, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal to do something like that.
It's interesting that the charging station actually is in tension with all the other things we were just saying. We don't want people to stay there long. We don't want the parking lot to fill up. We don't want, and yet by having charging stations, suddenly you've got the potential in today's day and age to have someone park there for 2 hours with only 5 spots.
Right.
So I'd personally be careful on that charging station part of it, but I completely get where you're coming from, and I like the sustainability piece. So, okay, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open this up as a public hearing, and then close the public hearing. If we have no one here, maybe we can go right into the motion. Is that acceptable, council?
Yep.
Then this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the council on this Starbucks coffee shop tonight issue? Okay, council, seeing none, why don't we go ahead and close the public hearing and go ahead and make the entire motion. We can always, and second that, and we can always question and adjust that if we need to. So could somebody make the motion?
Close the public hearing and adopt the resolution for a planning unit development concept review on 0.511 acres and approve the first reading of a ordinance for plan unit development district review with a waiver and zoning change from office to SWY commercial on 0.511 acres and direct staff to prepare development agreement incorporating staff and commission recommendations and council conditions.
Is there a second?
Second.
I think Councilmember Nelson got that one. Okay, council, further questions, discussion, any comments you wish to make, or are you ready to vote? Councilmember Nelson, anything? I just don't want to leave you out here.
I like the standout portion, and I think it's an interesting development for people being able to go through quickly in a state like COVID and perhaps afterwards. I don't know if people are changing their ideas or not, but I do sustainability.
Good, thank you. I hope that COVID is long gone by the time this is built and up and running, but I appreciate your thought on that. Sadly, we've been warned that there might be future type COVIDs in our future, but council, other thoughts or questions, or are you ready to vote? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case,
Aye. Welcome to Eden Prairie.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
All right, payment of claims, again, for anyone that might be new on the council or listening in. The payment of claims are all the different bills, basically, or amounts of money that went out from the city to pay our various vendors and other bills that we have. It's quite an exhaustive long list, typically 10, 12, 15 pages. We often do, as council, skim them. We deeply trust our staff for the details, and of course we get audited. But are there any items that anyone on the council wishes to question? If not, is there a motion to approve the payment of claims as submitted?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
This one, even in a non-COVID time, would require a roll call because it's so important when money gets spent that each of us give our okay on that. So roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case,
Aye. By the way, that the council that's alphabetical, just in case anybody's bothered that they're last. Councilmember Toohey.
I'm glad I came second this time.
Okay. All right. Now we're moving to appointments. And again, this first meeting in January, we make our appointments for the year. The first one, how do we want to do this? Mr. Getchell, do you want to speak to each one? Do you want me to run through them? What's the best thing to do?
Mayor, yes. I mean, the majority of these are appointments where city council members serve on various commissions and committees that the city's involved in. All types, covering transportation to utilities to advocating at the state and federal level. And then there are a few as simple as designating our official newspaper. So I absolutely don't need to speak to each of these. I can answer any questions you have, but I think it's pretty straightforward as you go through them, what each is for. But I can certainly expound on any of them if you wish.
Okay, and just educational again for people listening in, Eden Prairie is what's called a statutory city, which means we take our lead from basically a constitution for cities that was written by the state legislature, primarily in pretty much basic form back in 1858. And we're a statutory city called a Plan B, meaning that we appoint a city manager to run the city. There are Plan A cities across the state, about 700 of them, that are so small that the city council literally picks the color of the police uniform. But in this case, we hire a city manager to go and do the work and hire the 300 up to 600 or 700, if you count part-time people, that do the bidding of the city council. With that in mind, a lot of the things we're doing right now are statutory. like designating an official newspaper. That's something we have to do. So council, could I have a motion to designate the Eden Prairie Sun-Sailor, which happens to be our only newspaper? So we are designating the one option that we have. Is there a motion to designate that paper?
I move to adopt the resolution designating the Eden Prairie Sun-Sailor as official city newspaper for the year 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm not going to even ask for conversation. Butt in quickly if you have an issue or problem on any of this. Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. The next is to designate council member days and times across the year. They can be changed. They just have to simply be changed with enough advance notice for the public. But we're setting our calendar for the year. The other thing we do statutorily is that if there's an emergency or leading this meeting, the mayor, one person, meaning the mayor, has to be here doing that. If I'm indisposed, out of town, traveling, and we have some kind of a crisis emergency or need a meeting called, one council member has to be that singular person. And statutorily, that's called the acting mayor. You can think of it as a vice mayor. Traditionally, the statute doesn't say who that person or which council member it could or should be. Historically, traditionally, it's been the most senior member. So tonight, we talked about this at workshop. Council member Kathy Nelson is our most senior member. And so could I entertain a motion from one of you to designate the meeting dates and council member Kathy Nelson as acting mayor?
I'll make the motion. I'll move to adopt the resolution designating the official meeting dates, time and place for the City of Eden Prairie Council in 2021 and appointing council member Kathy Nelson as acting mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. Okay, now we're going to run through various commissions. The first is this is the Eden Prairie Housing and Redevelopment Authority, which is the HRA. Some cities actually designate a special group. We, the City Council, function as the HRA, and we call special HRA meetings within our City Council meetings now and then. So is there a motion to have us serve? And let me see here just a second. Do we need a secretary for the calendar year, Mr. Getchell? How does that work?
Mayor, council members, for the last several years, Councilmember Nelson has been the secretary of the HRA.
Excellent. Did you know that, Councilmember Nelson? I'm going to question maybe the notes you've been taking, but we can take that offline. All right, is there a motion then to appoint the council as HRA and Kathy Nelson as our secretary, which we now all know that she will be the secretary. So please proceed. Is there a motion?
I'll move to adopt the
Go ahead.
That was good. That was in
I move
unison.
to adopt the resolution appointing city council member to serve as commissioners for the Eden Prairie Housing and Redevelopment Authority and appointing Ron Case as the chair, Rick Getchell as executive director, and council member Kathy Nelson as secretary for the calendar year 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right, the next appointment is to the Suburban Rate Authority. It's a group of like 37 cities that advocate and lobby for specific municipal public works activities. We typically have a staff member. We have our Director of Public Works, Robert Ellis, who is representing us on this group. And then we also appoint a council member as an alternate, and that would be Mark Freiberg. Is there a motion to that end? Somebody.
I moved that the resolution with Robert Ellis was director and Mark Freiberg is alternate director of the Suburban Rate Authority.
Is there a second?
Second.
Take your pick on that one. Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. Our city belongs to some amazing organizations that help us work with government levels above us. One is the National League of Cities. The mayor is typically the prime delegate, and the council members are alternates to the National League of Cities. Is there a motion as such?
I'll make a motion. Move to approve the appointment of Mayor Ron Case as delegate and council members as alternates to the National League of Cities.
Is there a second?
Aye.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. We also belong to a really wonderful group of suburban cities that are very much like us, and so we really appreciate being part of the Municipal Legislative Commission. Is there a motion to appoint me and to the Municipal Legislative Commission? And we usually bring the other council members. They're not formal alternates, but you are absolutely part of it. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the appointment of Ron Case, the mayor, to the Municipal Legislative Commission.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. We also are part of 5 cities that are members of the Southwest Cable Commission that oversee the Comcast franchise. Mark Freiberg has been our representative and is going to continue. Is there a motion to appoint him?
Move to approve appointment of Mark Freiberg to Southwest Cable.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. We're also part of the 494 I-494 Corridor Commission. All the cities along 494 that advocate with the state and federal government for funding to continually improve and better that roadway. Mark Freiberg is going to take on that responsibility that was formerly held by Brad Aho. Is there a motion to approve Mark Freiberg?
I move to approve the appointment of Mark Freiberg to the I-494 Corridor Commission.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. Next appointment is possibly the most important one we do all year. Statutorily, for whatever reason, the mayor is the chief weed inspector for the city. Because I don't really want to be spending my time inspecting weeds, this is very important to appoint Lauren Stuffed. Did I say that right, or is it Stuffed? As the assistant weed inspector who actually will be doing the work. So is there a motion to do that?
I will move to appoint Lauren Stuffed as Assistant Weed Inspector for the City of Eden Prairie.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. We have, as all of you know, if you don't already, you should, that we have an amazing fire department here in Eden Prairie led by our chief. Thank you for all the work you all do. It's a volunteer of sorts. They get very little pay if they go out to a call. But we do put money aside as part of a pension, depending on how many years that they've served in the fire department. So there's a board that oversees that pension fund, and we have a council member that sits on that. It's very important. So that's council member Kathy Nelson, and then we have a staff person, our finance lead director, I'm not sure what her title is, Sue Kachiver. So is there a motion to appoint Kathy Nelson and Sue Kachiver to the Fire Relief Association?
I move to adopt the resolution appointing Kathy Nelson and Sue Kachiver to the Eden Prairie Fire Relief Association.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. We're also part of the Southwest Transit Commission. It's 3 cities, Eden Prairie, Chaska, and Chanhassen. And we joined together 28, 30, I don't know now, years ago to be an opt-out where we were allowed to have money from the whole regional transit system to come up with our own system that better served our people. It wins awards, as you all know, as about, I think, the #1 transit organization in the nation. If anyone's ever taken one of the buses, it's just amazing. So we have 2 council members from each city that sit on that. Could be a resident. In our case, we have 2 council members. So is there a motion to appoint? Actually, this year there's a little bit of terms that are a little bit off. So we're going to appoint PG Narayan to the 2-year term, Lisa Toomey to complete Brad Aho's 1-year term, and then we'll reappoint her coming up next year. So is there a motion to that extent?
I cannot do myself, right?
Well, you can, but somebody. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll move to appoint Lisa Tomey to this, PG Narayan to the Southwest Transit Board as the Eden Prairie appointed representative for a 2-year term to end December 31st, 2022, and to appoint Lisa Tomey to the Southwest Transit Board as the Eden Prairie appointed representative to complete the 2-year term ending December 31st, 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. So we're coming up to the last appointment for those people that have been so thinking that this is so exciting that they don't want it to end. All the good things must come to an end. So this is our last appointment to the LRT Community Work Steering Committee. And it's Kathy Nelson. And then we need an alternate. Who did we decide? I'm sorry, Lisa Toomey as the alternate. So is there a motion to?
I move to appoint Kathy Nelson to the Southwest LRT Community Works Project Steering Committee and Lisa Toomey as alternate member of the Southwest LRT Community Works Project Steering Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. With LRT becoming ever more visible on a weekly basis around town, they're all important, but that's a very, very important committee to be on. So I want to thank all of our council members for all the extra work outside of being at this meeting. A lot of people, I don't think many people would think this is all we do is to come twice a month for 3 to 4 hours on a Tuesday night. There's a lot of other involvement in the community life of this city. And so I appreciate all 4 council members for all the work that you do serving the people of Eden Prairie. And again, I believe the citizens of Eden Prairie are so well represented. So thanks for what you do. Mr. Gattro, I think that's all that will come before us this evening.
That's correct, Mayor.
Council, anything else to come before the council? Okay, with that, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn this first meeting of 2021.
I move to adjourn the city council meeting today.
Councilmember Toomey, do you want to have the honor?
Sure, I will second that.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned.
Yay.